Hey everyone, thanks for joining us this week at the Bee's Knees podcast.
This week we're talking about technology.
We like talking about a whole lot of topics. Join us if you please, cause we're the Bee's Knees, oh yeah. So this week we're talking about technology, and what got me onto this track was I was kind of watching the PlayStation event a little bit late after it came out, but they announced that the PS5 is coming out holiday of 2020, and then I looked and the new Xbox is coming out holiday of 2020.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about how cool these consoles are, because I'm used to, like, the Xbox 360 was the console that I gamed the most on.
Yeah.
But then there's others like the Super Nintendo, the N64, just a lot of older consoles that is really what I spent most of my gaming time on. So I watched some of the videos through this event, and like some of the new games that are coming out are like crazy good. Like the graphics are great, and all of the controls seem to be just very intricate.
Yeah, and we also recently finished watching a show that's very futuristic and heavily based around a technology infused world.
Yeah.
And that's uploaded and it's on Prime Video. And that kind of just showed us that there's a lot of opportunity to discuss technology, how far it's come, where it's at now, and where it's going, and then super futuristic where it could possibly go one day.
And I've always been into sci-fi things like Star Wars, Alien, Blade Runner, as well as video games like Mass Effect, Halo, and the most recent one I've been playing is Horizon Zero Dawn on the PS4. And its sequel was the headliner of this PlayStation event that I watched. And it looks so good. Like, the first one, like, the girl's hair was kind of weird and, like, clunky. Like, it wouldn't all move at the same time. Or, like, one side would flap up and then the other side would just kind of be sitting there. But this new one looks so realistic. And, like, I'm pretty excited to see what the PS5 can do because... First of all, it's enormous. It looks like a freaking Wi-Fi router. And the Xbox isn't any better. It looks just like a giant black box.
Yeah. Kind of looks like a speaker.
Yeah, and they're big and clunky, but like I get that like because they are so powerful, they need to have the size to hold all the stuff that makes them do what they do. But yeah, that's besides the point. Like the games look great, and I'm excited to see how they all work. As if I'm actually going to get one of these consoles.
Well, maybe someday. Probably not holiday 2020.
Yeah,
but...
when the PS6 comes out, we'll get the PS5.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking about just different technology that we have now and just different cool things that are available. So one of the cool things that I didn't really know about until recently was just real-time translators, which, like, there's a ton of different translator tools, like Google Translate is one of them, but there are like handheld things that it's like you type out what you want to say and it will translate it into just the text of different things. So like if you're out and about and you don't have cellular connection, this device will do that.
Right.
But there's one company called Palomi that makes this like handheld thing that you talk into, and it will listen to what you're saying, translate it, and then speak that translation in whatever language you want, which is the coolest thing. And it only costs like $120.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's an affordable thing if you travel a lot and you don't have the ability to get over language barriers.
Right. No, what does this thing look like? Like, is it just like a little...
I mean, it's kind of just like this little black rectangle that you sit in your hand, you hold it, and it has a button on it, and you push the button and then talk into it.
So it's like a little mic kind of thing.
Basically, yeah. And so long as Palomi has the language in their database, you can talk to whoever you want. Right. Which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Another piece of cool tech that we have today, and it's just kind of starting to get big, is just electric cars. Yeah. Like, there was a time when Tesla first kind of launched, and everyone was just like, oh, this is like this crazy thing that like that's never gonna catch on. Yeah. And now it's one of the largest companies in the world. Elon Musk is just rolling in the dough. And now even more companies are making electric cars. So I have a list here, like there's any Tesla, they're all electric. They're all cool looking, and they all kind of look the same, but they're all cool looking, except for the Cybertruck. That's just one heck of a vehicle.
Yeah, I don't like the look of it. It just is so sci-fi looking, I guess.
You're entitled to your opinion, even though it's wrong.
Okay.
So there's the Nissan Leaf, which I think is a funny name for a car. The Audi e-tron, which is awesome. The e-tron.
Yeah.
BMW i3, and then the Mini Cooper SE. All of these cars, like for the 2020 model, like the cheapest one of them starts at $30,000.
Right.
Which, if you're already in the market for a brand new car, it's not that much more just to go electric.
Right.
There are so many upsides to having an electric car environmentally that, like, I don't see why you wouldn't at this point.
Yeah. So
with that, we're going to fast forward 5 years to kind of what we think technology is going to do short term.
Right.
So I'm going to start off with artificial intelligence. So this is anything from like your Google Home or Google Assistant. Like right now, they can tell you things that like they don't really matter. Like if I wanted to ask what the capital of Kansas was, it would tell me. If I wanted to know the phone number for the New Orleans pizza downtown, it would tell me.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yep.
But that's really all it's good for to me right now. But I was reading an article about it's basically Google screening, and I think my mom's phone started doing this. Basically, it will take your call and screen it to make sure it's not a telemarketer, a scam call, or just somebody you don't want to talk to.
Right.
I'm just wondering how far it's going to go. Like, say I need to make a dentist appointment and the dentist calls me. Is it going to pick up the phone for me?
Yeah, it'll be like, "Hello, this is Ben's assistant. How can I help you today?"
Yeah, we need to make an appointment with Ben for sometime next week.
Ben is available on Wednesday at 4.
All right, perfect.
And then the Google will just like program that into your phone.
And then it's just like, hey, it'll just shoot you a text. Hey, you have a dentist appointment next week.
At 4.
Get used to it. If they're ever looking for somebody to do their AI voice, I'm going to send them your information.
Okay. New career opportunity headed my way in 5 years.
Just artificial intelligence voice. So other things that AI is kind of used for, they're video games. So I watched a video just yesterday, actually, that they're looking for video game AI to kind of progress as much as it can in the sense of the non-player characters. They want them to kind of lose the monotony of just walking the same paths or saying the same things, but still kind of fitting into a story where they can push the progression further. Because that's what a game is, a story.
Yeah.
And I feel like the biggest games that would benefit from this kind of thing is like, so Hitman games. So it's a game where you are an assassin and you have to take out this designated target. And most cases, they follow a path and you have to kind of use stealth and like kind of persistence to just follow their path, figure out where they're going.
Yeah.
But after a while, it just gets predictable.
Right.
So if these characters, they have one task they need to do, like they need to be at this place at this time, but how they get there doesn't matter. They could just do whatever they want. They could go through the kitchen, they could go through the cellars. Maybe they're on their own secret mission. Who knows? But it just kind of changes it up so that like it adds replayability to these games.
Yeah. Like what about games like Pokemon, where like every single time you talk to young trainer Sarah, she says the same thing every single time. Like would it change that?
Yeah, I don't know if it would add dialogue to the game.
Oh, okay.
Or like change that. But I mean, it might. I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of algorithm they could have that kind of gives them a guideline of where they want conversations to go and like what this character would say.
Right.
And they kind of just fill in the gaps. But then again, in a game like Pokemon, there's a heck of a lot of people.
There, yeah.
To individually program each character, each NPC.
To have a variety of different dialogue options.
Now, say they had different like different types. So each youngster could
Right.
have this assortment of things.
Or like even if your rival,
Yeah.
like I feel like the rivals are saying the same thing every single time you meet up with them.
Yeah, honestly, they've just been getting super annoying.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to kind of just see something that is different. They're not just, oh, we follow along the main character just because.
Yeah.
So, things like that, they just shake it up, add replayability, and it would make the game a bit better. And it seems like that's what they're aiming to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on a completely different branch of AI, another type of AI that I have been looking into lately was like scientific artificial intelligence, which is mostly along the premise of like there is a scientist in a lab doing experiments. All of these experiments need to be done 100 times, either exactly the same or like each time they have a slightly different variable.
Right.
And that's just very time consuming. So basically it's like either we could have this one scientist doing this menial task over and over, which it's not useless or a waste of time, but it's just very time consuming. Or we could get this AI to run all these tests while the scientist looks into other things and researches other things.
Yeah.
Which honestly would be such a huge breakthrough for science, because then a lot of these just trivial, just repetitive things could kind of get done in the background just constantly.
Yeah.
While they experiment with other things.
Could the AI abilities speed the process up at all as well?
I mean,
so like research
yeah.
for vaccines and stuff, could we get vaccines faster?
As somebody who is not a scientist, I don't really know, but I would presume since they could just do all these things nonstop,
right?
Like they don't need to stick to a 8 to 10 hour work day.
Yeah, they don't.
I don't know the work week of a scientist.
Yeah,
but they don't need to take coffee breaks. They don't need to go to the bathroom.
They don't need to sleep.
Exactly. They could just run for 3 weeks straight, just constantly running these experiments. And I don't know what other sort of automation would need to be like, if there's a vial of this blood they need to put in, if somebody needs to be there for that. I don't know. I don't know all of the nitty gritty details.
It's just something that's being worked on.
Yeah, it's something that's being worked on, and it's once it is implemented, it's probably going to change just the game of science.
Right.
So another technology that I feel is going to really take off in the next few years is virtual reality. So right now, really all it is just for people who are in their homes who have purchased this stuff, playing horror video games or like going on online chat rooms and like finding out if you know the way. Like it's nothing special. So what I think it's going to be is like a tool for like exploration and stuff like that. There are many parts of the world that just can't be explored right now, whether it's because you can't get there feasibly or just people don't have the ability to. So like if I wanted to go to Chernobyl, I can't. But if I had a VR set that was connected to a drone that allowed me to explore, I'd explore the heck out of that place.
Like what exactly would you be exploring? Like
just ruins. It's just like a city that just got dropped.
Yeah, it would be so depressing.
Yeah, but it'd also be pretty cool. So there's Chernobyl. No one can go there. I'd look at it. I'd pay money to go look at it through a VR set. Or say there are like this vast cave system and that like I'm not physically able to go spelunking. Think of like people with disabilities who it's just not a thing they can do. So if they have somebody who regularly does it, put on like a 360 camera or something like that, and now they can tag along with the VR tour of these caves or whatever. And the final bit of our brief fast forward is driverless cars. So like right now, Tesla has this thing called autopilot that you can kind of just put it on autopilot and your car will just kind of carry on.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think it can just fully drive for you. I think it's more like if you're on the highway and you want to just drive, it'll kind of be mindful of your lanes and stuff like that. But like driverless cars is kind of the idea that, yeah, you're there to make sure that nothing goes wrong and you can take over if you need to, but just everything is automated. You put in point A, you put in point B, and it just takes you there. It does all the turns, it does all the merging, it does everything. Which I think is really cool, because then say you get on the highway and everybody, like, it's a mandated autopilot on highways. You just, when you get there, you hit lane 1, 2, 3, or 4. It'll divide you into the appropriate lane for how fast you want to go, and then you're golden.
Yeah, I don't know how comfortable I would be personally if my car was just driving itself. Like, the lack of control I would feel like I had.
Okay.
Like, even if it had something where the car tells you where you should be. Like, if you are driving slower, but you're in a fast lane, then the car would recommend that you merge to the next lane.
Oh, that'd be genius for a lot of people.
Exactly. Or like, if you're just driving and you're just focused on the road and you're not really paying that much attention to where exactly on the road you are, and then it's like all of a sudden your exit is coming up and you have to get from left all the way over to the right, and it's just like a crazy merging that is...
Have those jerk bags that cut across 4 lanes of traffic to get their exit in like 50 meters.
Yeah, exactly. If it gave you kind of like a heads up, like, hey, your exit's coming up in this amount of time, you should start merging over.
Yeah.
Like, I know GPS already has that. It'll tell you that your exit's coming up. But there's a lot of people who have routine commutes on multiple lane highways that it's just so routine that it would be common to completely lose track of where exactly on the road you are and how far away your exit is.
Yeah. And another good one that your car could tell you is, hey, I noticed you turned and you didn't put on your turn signal. Do better next time. There's a lot of people who need that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully all of that cool stuff will just hurry up and get here, because like I want to play with VR stuff. I want a driverless car. I want to just sit there and just go.
See, I don't think that you would actually enjoy a driverless car, because you enjoy control on the road more than I do.
Yeah, I guess it depends how much I would trust it. Like, if I trusted it to get me to work and back, I'd sit and browse on my phone.
That's irresponsible.
But the car is responsible, not me.
No, I don't like that idea.
All right, now getting into kind of some more outlandish things, like space travel. And I don't mean like astronauts going to space for science and research purposes. I mean more just like, hey, what are we doing this weekend? I don't know, let's do a trip to the moon.
That just sounds so crazy to me. Like, something I never would ever think. Like, one day I'm going to go to the moon. Just an ordinary person living an ordinary life, not smart enough to be going to space.
I remember sitting in a Tim Hortons with a friend, and we were just sitting there just talking about life and stuff. And we're just like, you know what's crazy? It might happen in our lifetime that we could just go to space.
I don't think I would. I think that'd be too scary for me.
I mean, if they refine the process so that it's less of a spectacle and it's just like, oh, there's another rocket taking off to space. Like, I'm sure when planes first started, people were like, oh, I don't know, that seems a little crazy for me.
Yeah.
But now it's just like, well, not right now, but
Yeah.
like, usually there's a lot of planes going everywhere all the time, and it's just an everyday thing. And I don't know how soon it would be space is an everyday thing, but like it might be like, oh, where are we going to go for our family vacation this year? Disneyland, Cuba, the moon? Why not? It'd be like a moon hotel.
Yeah, but it would also cost a small fortune.
Well, to start, yeah, but maybe it'd get to a point where it's financially feasible.
Not in our lifetime.
But then there's also like space travel, like maybe people want to go across the universe. Like that's a little bit more outlandish. That's a little more out to left field. Mm-hmm. Like I play video games where you are a person who gets sent to the other side of the universe with this weird technology that can just manipulate space and time and just travel wherever you want, anytime you want. And I don't know if it's going to be that seamless, but maybe there will be some sort of a technology made to send humans far off.
Yeah.
Like there was a university that made synthetic leaves that could produce oxygen, which if they can make leaves, like fake leaves that make oxygen, who's to say they can't make a spaceship that has such a internal environment that could sustain life indefinitely. They could make oxygen, they could grow vegetables, they could do all sorts of stuff. So maybe it's like, it's not like this group of people goes from here to there, but it's like this colony is on this ship just indefinitely going, and in generations they'll be like really far away.
So like people that would live a lifetime on a ship.
Yeah.
Like the 100.
Yeah, like I'm not saying it's a glamorous lifestyle, but like maybe there will be people who do that.
Maybe.
And just for generations and generations, they'll just be going and going. And eventually they'll find a really cool place that can sustain life. And they'll just be like, you know what? We did it.
Yeah.
Or not. Who knows?
So we'll just send humanity off to another planet that we can destroy, I guess.
Yeah. One's not enough.
No, we're too greedy.
All right. So another crazy tech thing that who knows if it'll ever happen or not. This one comes from just like a bulk of like sci-fi television shows. AI reincarnation, or just like afterlife. If it was presented to you on your deathbed to be able to transfer your consciousness into some sort of digital afterlife, would you or would you not?
I don't think I would.
Why?
Like, and maybe it's because I know it's not a possibility, but there's just so many uncertainties to it. Like, would I just be living day after day as an old woman? Hopefully I die when I'm old. But like, would I just be living the same day, like in a rocking chair, knitting, whatever I do when I'm 80? Like,
you do that stuff now.
That's besides the point. Would I just be doing that? Like, I just don't think that there would be a way to have new experiences that I didn't get in my lifetime.
All right.
So I feel like I would just be stuck in eternity in this digital world, living the same sort of day over and over again.
All right. But what if you could pick what point in your life you were there as, and you could always change it up?
Yeah, but like still though, like if I were to pick like, oh, I'm going to go back to 20 something. Like, I don't know what I would do in this fake heaven that I hadn't already done or experienced at some point. Like, I just don't know. Like, obviously in my lifetime, I'm not going to do everything or experience everything the world has to offer. But if I die, when I die, I hope that I'm satisfied enough in my life that I don't feel like there's enough to fulfill an eternity of life doing things I hadn't done. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I may never go skydiving, but like if I go to this fake afterlife, do I want to go skydiving every day? Or like, how many more things are there going to be that I'm going to want to do before I feel fulfilled? And I feel like if that's the way we're going to think, you're never going to achieve it.
Yeah. Or you could just go skydiving all day, every day for the rest of your digital afterlife.
The whole point of skydiving is the thrill. If you're doing it every day, what thrill do you get? It's just like, oh, here I am, falling again.
And that's when you ditch the parachute. You're already dead. What's going to happen?
Oh my gosh.
It'd be fun. All right. Here's another hypothetical, just crazy thing. Just fully integrated internet.
Yeah, that's a no.
Didn't even have to ask. So it's just like, what if they put like this weird like chip that connected to like your brain or something like that? You had the full access to the internet. Like you had like your cell phone was just part of you. All of that. Like you wouldn't.
No, that's way too dehumanizing. Like if I go to a cottage or if I go on vacation, I want to be able to leave the digital world behind. I don't want it in me where I can't get rid of it. Like I want to go relax, put all of that behind me for the time that I'm there and just enjoy myself. I don't want it all the time.
But think of all the things you wouldn't have to invest in because they'd just be a part of you. Like you wouldn't have to worry about getting a new phone every year. And I mean, that's really all I can think of that it saves you on. But you don't have to buy a new phone every year.
Yeah, but the beauty of the phone is you can leave it if you want to. Like, if you have internet attached to you, like in you all the time, that's not even getting into all the dangers that presents, like addictions that would just be presented to you all the time. Like you just like blankly staring off into space to out everybody else, but inside your head, you're gambling or whatever. Like, I feel like that just is more human disconnect than what we need, because we already have a lot of disconnection between.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. Relationships, families. Like technology is a big thing in human relationships. It distracts us, and I feel like it takes away from your real life experience. So to have that in your brain all the time is just really disturbing to me. I don't know. That's just my thought. Like, obviously technology has done a lot, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just think that it's good to be able to put it away.
Yeah. And the final crazy future tech thing that we have for you today is hoverboards.
Yep.
Back to the Future promised us that we would have them by now, and we still don't. So we're waiting on those.
We just have those handleless segways that people refer to as hoverboards.
Yeah, just riding around in circles.
Yeah, and it's like, that's not a hoverboard. Your wheels are touching the ground. I want to actually be able to float. Like,
get me off the ground.
Yes, exactly.
So we want to know what kind of sci-fi tech you would like to see brought to life. You can email us at thebeesandkneespodcast@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at the Bees and Knees Cast, Instagram and YouTube at the Bees and Knees Podcast. Hey, Beebot.
Hello. How can I help you?
Tell them what to do.
Like, follow, subscribe, rate, review, and download.
Talk to you next week.
You have an appointment next week.